There you go. It is now.
Well, it's live, we just don't have a photo right now.
Okay. All right. Don't have to look at us. All right, please call roll.
Cash.
Here.
Jack.
Here.
Caudle.
Here.
Baldwin. Beasley.
Here.
Littleton.
Here.
Thank you. We have the minutes of the previous meeting, our regular scheduled meeting that was on March 9th, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Jack.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Beasley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here for public comments? Okay, we will move on into the mayor's report. You had updates from each of your department heads directly. Does anyone have questions for them?
Just one comment I noticed on the fire reports, that 53% of your calls were medical.
Usually more than that.
Yes. Generally, they are 53.46, yes.
Yeah, so that's an ambulance run and you're assisting, or is that just,
Those are assistant first responders where we assist with everything from life-threatening CPR to lift assist.
found that a curious percentage there.
Mayor, can I comment something?
Yeah.
That's pretty, it's the norm.
Yeah, been looking at it for 3 years.
Something I meant to put on my report, but it slipped my mind at the time. We've made a pretty conscious effort to focus on Kentucky 32, just because of the high number of accidents that we've had on it in the past few years. Just from, pretty much from Walmart down to 60. It's kind of where most of our accidents are at. In the first quarter, they've reduced collisions by 37% in that area.
I've noticed the presence out there every morning,
So-
every evening.
If they're on track to probably reduce, we have about 500 a year, so, not just in that area, just citywide. So we're probably on course to reduce that by 100 or better, just by.
I've seen the units sitting out there by the interstate and then also out by, where is it, at Walmart?
Yeah.
Out there at that Lannon's lot there.
Probably, yeah, they're out there quite a bit, so.
And a heavy presence downtown,
Yeah,
because I know people complain if they don't see police, and then people complain when they do see the police.
catching on both.
So happy medium there.
Hopefully that's making people slow down, pay attention out there.
Wrote about 100 tickets on there since January, just on Main Street. Just from BP to,
What was the fastest one?
I don't know, probably 30. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks they're driving fast.
30 over.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a golf cart. Yeah.
Since January, 100 tickets? Yeah.
On just Main Street.
That's not the number of traffic stops we made. That's just the stops that they actually got citations. So that's probably at least double the number of traffic stops they made because they don't write tickets every time. So.
Thank you.
Other questions for department heads? No?
I had one,
Yeah.
Rodney, and I can't remember what it was.
I had one for Rodney as well.
I'm trying to go through.
Defer to Tripp if you'd like. We'll give Tripp a roll of the dice.
If I can.
I don't remember what it was, Tripp. I'm sorry, I gotta look up my notes
It
again.
was 1217 East Main Clubhouse Rentals, and it said demolition, new sixplex. And I thought, surely you wouldn't demolish a new sixplex. So I didn't know if I was reading that right or not, but that's,
Probably a demolition and then they're going to build a new season.
well, but under that were several where there was gonna be a
Know
new.
about Clubhouse, they're building 2 sixplexes down on East Main where they tore down those 2 houses.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it ran together and it's supposed to be two separate things, something about Clubhouse and then something about.
Yeah, it was like different lines, so I
Bless your heart.
questioned that, yeah.
She got it.
Looks like we're getting started with the gas station on the corner.
Folks started moving dirt yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, that's all.
Should be hopefully moving along probably the same speed as the fire department.
Hopefully, we're a little farther apart.
I hope you open before they do.
Yeah, foundation's already in the ground.
I noticed a lot of wells invoices, so a lot of concrete went in the ground.
That's all the foundation concrete is complete. Yes.
But the Huck's place is not gonna be a gas station, is that right? It's a food place or something?
It's both.
It's, oh,
So it's basically what's.
I think it's not gonna have diesel, right?
that's what I thought, and then I thought here, I heard it wasn't a gas station.
Canopy.
Diesel canopy on the upper,
Lord.
sure did.
Did they take it out completely?
So it
in,
was-
then it was back in now.
It was contingent upon what they ended up agreeing with on the state. And so I'm assuming then maybe that means they've worked out their,
The last set of plans I saw, it was really small, so.
They just had like a one pump island out there when I,
14 feet
Added
high or
it.
something.
They
So
bought
it was-
Put it on the upper end.
okay, sounds good. Any other department questions? Okay, we will keep moving along then. We have our quarterly reports and we have the Chamber of Commerce. Jason.
Y'all bear with me, I'm fighting the pollen.
I think
Me too.
everybody is.
So if you can't understand me, just ask me to repeat. Sorry about not getting your report to you sooner. Helen was supposed to send that out to you today, but I will hit the high points in it. We'll start with Chamber. We're over 300 members now. We've steadily been growing for the last 6 years. Just this year, we've added 50 new members. We're still trying to resolve people who've joined in previous years and they don't follow us into the second year. A lot of that is very inconsistent reasoning. What we find is that some just close, some just decide they don't want to renew, but we maintain somewhere between 97 and 100%. Year to date, how that's impacting us is that we brought in a grand total of $7,430 new dollars in generated revenue. And it sounds like a small number, but when you look at the majority of where our membership is in the chamber, majority of it falls into the smallest tier for a small business, one person, single proprietor up to 5, which is only $135 for the year. Or we have nonprofits, and we have a lot of nonprofit organizations in the community which charge only $55. But those all count towards your bottom line. Financial overview. We've done really well over the past 6 years. I know we're in a quarterly report, but I'm trying to give you that premise as to where we're at. Non-dues revenues has been one of the big sources we've worked really, really hard at trying to be able to give us more stability. And this year so far, with this quarter just getting underway, we've generated a little over $55,000 in non-dues revenue to couple with our membership. And that's a plus. It allows us to reinvest into our members in other ways, to be able to give them more services, give them more opportunities. It allows us to be able to diversify a lot of programs that they're telling us that we need that we couldn't have done 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So that's been a big plus for us. Things that you see that's come from that is our workforce conference we just did last month. And help me on the date, we have a women's conference coming up.
April 21st.
April 21st. So ladies, if you have not been, I still have plenty of tickets available. That's going to be a really good day. It's from 10 to here at the conference center. You can find more information online at the chamber website. Just go under the calendar and look for Leadership Roundtable. Some other community engagement events we got going on is our Business Connections. We put that in at a no cost for our members. Members kept telling us they wanted to do more networking. So we do every third Friday at Fuzzy Duck Coffee Shop from 8 to 9. Come in, get a cup of coffee, a snack. If you want, it doesn't cost you a dime. You can stay 5 minutes. You can stay the full hour. Whatever you want. Bring your business cards. Engage, especially if you're a small business owner. We're getting ready to launch a new networking event May 1. We're still working out details, but it's called Chamber Chats. It's going to be built more like on speed networking, where you're going to have to get engaged and really kind of be able to provide your service information, give your 30-second elevator speech quickly and be able to get it across to folks. So more information coming on that. We have 2 luncheons coming up. The May 7th one, we expect this one to be well attended. It will be a legislative update with Representatives Richard White and Steve West to talk about the recent 2026 legislative session as it starts to wrap up on Wednesday, April 15th. And we have our annual golf scramble coming June 12th. That event is always one that members enjoy. They like to get that on the calendar. So we should be rolling that out this week. Community development. I don't remember who asked a question about Hucks. I'm in conversation with them about once every 2 weeks. Yes, they did begin yesterday, or I believe it was yesterday, but they were actually had equipment moving in last week. And the timeline on that, it'll be somewhere probably into, I'm gonna say Q2 of 27, just to be able to get everything ready for that site. And the last plans that I did have, Mayor and Council, was that it did include, like you see out here on 32, but it also does include a diesel canopy about where Yamato's is. And the issues that they needed to resolve at that point in time was the ingress egress for the ability for left in or left out. State was not wanting to do that, so I'm not sure what the remedy plan that they come up with, but those were the issues there. Kentucky 801 developments that are continuing to go on. You notice that there's some construction going on out on 801. You have a new Liberty Mart being constructed that's closer to Meadowview Weddings and Events. We also have a second development going on that's up more directly across from Comfort Inn, and that's a local dispensary that has purchased that property, and they've got construction underway. We have Hogs Trough is still very much in the plans. They've had a few setbacks internally, but they've indicated that they are still committed to the market as soon as they resolve some of those issues.
Jason, do they own the property they're sitting on, or is it being leased, or were they intended?
Last conversation I had with their representative was that it was a purchase.
Okay.
The issues that they were trying to resolve on that was some permitting needs that they need to work out with District 9.
Okay.
I'm assuming that they have worked those out because locations has changed a little bit and how it was originally proposed. So with that being said, they have started construction on that. I'm not sure what the actual timeline as far as the completion goes, but it is in the works and it is underway.
Thank you.
Polo One development, or out by the interstate where the other Hucks, Cattleman's and all that is, that's what we call Polo One. We have several brands that we have been having conversation with for probably the last 9 months. And the good news is, as slow as 25 was for us, we are starting to see more of an uptick from those brands that we're speaking to with interest in our market. So we're hoping that will continue to be the trend as we look ahead. Right now, I don't have anything to report as far as anything going into that development that's confirmed. Just a lot of positive conversation. So that's a different approach than what I've been receiving looking over the last 9 months. Morehead YMCA initiative. You guys have heard us talk about this in the past. It's not new, but to kind of tell you where we are. We did complete and wrap up a market analysis in January and February of this year. We have asked the city and the county to appoint an advisory / steering committee that will take the plan and be able to kind of start really analyzing that and forming to what it's going to take to actually make that a reality. Please keep in mind that it is a partnership with the Maysville Limestone YMCA, and so let me explain. Sorry guys, it's a little tough. YMCAs do not give standalone franchises anymore. So you have to find an existing YMCA that is willing to be a partner in your community, and you structure it from that standpoint. So their corporate board and the boards here would have some linkage to it if a YMCA was put here in our community. We have started notifying those members as of today. They should be receiving an email that includes a copy of the plan. It includes a survey link to be able to look for availability, and we look to be able to get them around the table and discussing some of the first steps that we need to take care of in this process, probably late April, 1st of May. Downtown parking, same thing. We wrapped up in January and February a comprehensive parking study that was for downtown. Our recommendations were that it had a stakeholders steering committee that was made from recommendations from city and county. We do have that list, and we are now starting to reach out. Well, let me back up. We will be reaching out to them this week. We have not made that effort as of today, Monday, April 13th. So that'll be another option to really kind of look at the downtown pieces, downtown vitality, and really kind of looking at what all we can do, not only to improve walkability, but also meet parking needs for area businesses and the city as a whole. Industrial park, natural gas. Don't know how much y'all know about this, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight to it. You know, we're working right now with Delta Gas to be able to tap a new interstate gas line in the back of the park. You know, the reason for that is because we're starting to reach capacity on that particular line that feeds our industrial load development. That current infrastructure is bringing gas to the park from the farmers area and the farmers tap, which also feeds into the Clearfield tap, which feeds the city of Morehead. We made a state funding request this year for $5.2 million. Unfortunately, I cannot report good news that we were not approved this session by the General Assembly for that. That $5.2 million would have covered $3 million for the existing tap, and the balance of that would be to construct an existing distribution station above ground on about 25,000 square feet of property, or 1/2 acre, and then to extend about 1,800 linear feet of 4-inch steel line to the existing infrastructure in order to connect the system to the network. That's a big deal. We need natural gas. Natural gas is an important driver for industrial growth. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of. Now, some of the solution to that is Delta Gas being the provider. They're providing the Public Service Commission a EDX filing. So what is EDX? EDX is an extraordinary request that's not budgeted for. It's an expense that, if approved, they would be able to recover. So my approach to that was to be able to really get that funding in our legislature this year, but we unable to obtain that. And then those things happen. There was a lot of requests went through this year, and but that was our plan B in order to be able to really kind of get that infrastructure in place. Also, some other things that we have been exploring conversation only in is child care initiative inside the industrial park, and how that with the industrial business partners. Being able to look at what we can do there to be able to support not only the industry in that park and in that particular area with our industry businesses, but looking at workforce participation. We're having engagement with our industrial employees. We will be meeting with them again on the 16th, which is Thursday. It's one of the topics that we have some conversation about. Very early in that conversation does not mean that we're doing anything in childcare, but it is something that we realize is a critical need, and we need to support out of the box thinking in order to be able to really curb that. Also, and I'm sure I'll get questions about this one, and that's okay. We have submitted an application federally, $6 million federal request for the MMRC Industrial Park to construct a 20,000 square foot facility designed for aerospace advanced manufacturing startups. And the reason why the aerospace sector just continues to explode and grow, and we're getting a lot of attention from the Space Science Center here at Morehead State University. And when I say startups, I'm talking about companies that are seedling companies. They are in their infancy of just trying to get off the ground. We've had several conversations with several of those types of businesses looking at our market, but all we have to offer them is greenfield, and they're not ready for that type of space. So the objective there is to be able to get that, which includes a clean room environment, get them to plant roots in the Commonwealth, get them to plant roots here in our community, and eventually migrate them out into the industrial park and larger greenfield property to help them be able to build and secure what they're looking to do, and to be able to grow those jobs here closer to home. Additional community development updates, our Oak and Prime project, which that is the Wells property out on Kentucky 32. They're in the final stages of wrapping their USDA financing. They have approached us about looking at an incentive for that project and that property as an industrial revenue bond. We have met with the mayor and her team, along with Mr. Jim Parsons, who is a very reputable, well-known IRB attorney in Northern Kentucky, who has done several of these across the state, but specifically in the greater Cincinnati area, Northern Kentucky. It's a good program, but at some point we'll be following up more with them to be able to kind of get a better feel for what the city might want to do, and at some point, council, I'm sure that may hit your all's desk. So more to come on that, but we're doing our homework right now. Eastern Light Distilling, they're in their final investment and financing phases, and they have informed me that they fully expect by Q3 of 26, as they wrap up these final pieces of closing, that they will begin the second leg of construction on site, which will include foundational concrete and structural steel. So operational plans for that is on target for Q3 of 27 as of today. Questions? That's a mouthful.
No questions?
Well, I just, it was a thorough report. Thank you, Jason. And it, just want to clarify that the first part of it was chamber and the second part is EDC or
Economic development.
MMRC. So that's clear because the grants and those sorts of things are coming out of EDC or the grant requests, et cetera. Is that correct?
Grant request.
Grant requests.
Be specific.
Thank you.
I mean, be specific as to which grant you're.
Mentioned the grant request that you were,
No, we made a $6 million federal request.
okay,
So.
Federal request.
It's not a grant. We have been in contact with our federal delegation. And we have asked for the next budget cycle for an earmark of $6 million to be appropriated federally to allow us to construct the incubator space. So that's not local money in any capacity from EDC. That is not from any allotments from what the city or the county does, or the county has offered to us.
okay. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah. You said that the group was, you were going to be reaching out to someone about a parking study?
Yes, we've got a list of names that have been provided to us by the city and county, mayor and judge. And so we now know, I know who the advisory committee is. We should be reaching out to them this week with an introductory email, sharing the actual proposed study with everyone and looking for a survey of dates to be able to find availability where everybody can come together and really start to frame that up.
I put your name on the list. On the committee.
What I wanted to say was that the parking study actually came out to be, how can we accommodate the traffic in downtown Morehead and allow people to park, but not necessarily park right in the front of something. And so that kind of led, it's part of the ad hoc committee with the recreation board that's looking at bicycling and bicycle friendly, popping off of Joy's ability to have us named an honorable mention for bicycle friendly community. So we are doing low hanging fruit, and it ties in with that parking study because that study gave us ideas of how to make bike lanes on Main Street. And so just wanted to make sure that those things get, we're not working here and here, we're working together on that.
Some of the key things in a lot of the studies that not just us, but all the groups have done that I've been able to read. We have an ample amount of parking in the downtown area. What we need is greater density of businesses who are in the downtown market that allow for people to not only gather and congregate, but to spend money, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a new retail establishment. We need more of those types of businesses. We need them more on this end of town. We need them more on the far east end of town in order to really be able to mesh that up. Some of the best ways to really do that are in two-story type developments at a minimum, and that would be getting frontage commercial on the ground level and subsidizing housing on the second.
Right. And just kind of related to, not to the density piece, but to the parking. Public Works went out and kind of rebuilt our quick build in front of Bats and Oats so that now there's a protected arched sidewalk and a protected arch drop-off for vehicles. So you can drive your drive in, drop somebody off to go to something that's in that area, and then you take the car and go park, and so that it accommodates people who can't walk as much. And that, again, that's a quick build, we want feedback on it, but it's part of that whole thing about parking, and et cetera, et cetera.
You know, other ideas that I've had when it comes to the parking too is a great example is, I'm sorry if I'm getting off topic, Mayor.
No, you're good.
Is just being able to look simply at the lot directly out from the police station here. Now, we know that there's underwater channel there and tile that take water adjacent from that side of town to Triplet Creek. But what is the best use for those type of properties for projects? You know, Mayor, you've mentioned several times about pocket parks. That would be, you know, a great location because it doesn't necessarily have to build something majorly structural above something. But it does allow for a green space to kind of remain green somewhat in the city and allows other stuff to be built in and around it to promote that. Areas where you can support parking. That would be another one, to be able to free up an existing lot somewhere, maybe to be able to allow other pieces to be put. So those are some things that you can do. And I think we just really need to think outside the box where we can and really be able to focus more on that density piece.
And one other question, on the committee, there'll be multiple groups represented. I would love to see us be able to have some kind of a share, it's not just me, Tripp has talked about this too. Some kind of a shared parking agreement with Morehead State University and St. Clair so that we're not competing but helping each other. I know that's a long way down the road, but it would be great for us to be able to have that conversation.
And I think that's the whole purpose of the committee.
Good.
Is to be able to have it because there is representation of that committee by UK St. Clair, Morehead State University, the city, business owners. So you have the ability to have those conversations representing all stakeholders, and that's where it needs to happen at. It needs to remain at grassroots level, and then be able to agree on things, have a champion leading those efforts to really push it, and take those up the ladders to the decision makers that can bring about the change that you desire.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Oh, but I will make a comment. I'll backtrack on a little bit. You talked about there was not funding in the state budget or allocated in the state budget for that project. I think it is worth noting that District 99 received no funding in Round or Elliott County. Morgan County did get a small portion, but out of that funding, it's $1.7 billion that were allocated for cities and counties and communities for a variety of projects. So things like Jason talked about, we did requests for aquatics, we did requests for
Lighting on Main Street.
Yes, we did, the county did requests for streets, parks, a number of different projects were asked and proposed on behalf of Round County and Morehead. And we've been looking, but we're struggling to find a time that Round County has never received funding. This is not something that's normal. It's not regular for us. And so that is something that we just all need to be aware of, especially when you're talking about $1.7 billion. It's actually the most the state has allocated for projects like this. So something for people just to pay attention to, because receiving $0 for our community it's kind of historical in a way, and quite the missed opportunity for our community. So again, importance of reaching out to everyone in Frankfort and advocating on behalf of communities. Just wanted to add that. Sorry.
Are there any other questions I can answer for the council? We have a lot of good things going on. 26 is really starting to look like a promising year of a lot of good opportunities. And we're going to keep doing what we do to keep pushing forward and help Morehead become the greatest version of itself that we can make it.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you.
Jason.
All right, next on the agenda, we have future growth, development, and projects for the city. You would typically have Rodney here for this portion, but he is actually away at training this week, and he is way off in Western Kentucky at Kentucky Dam Village. So he is over there for the rest of this week, but you do have his report, and then within, we have an update on Trace Creek construction. You want to go ahead and give us that update?
Well, the good news is we have the foundations complete. We have started some underground plumbing, specifically in the apparatus bay, putting in trench drains in preparation for slab. So once we get the slabs poured, we can start the structural steel. So that's, in a nutshell, that's where we're at. A lot better than we were. We've got a little bit of fine grading around the building, obviously, to get ready, but we don't want multiple different contractors in each other's way because that helps no one. So it's kind of a coordination on our part to focus on the building and try to get the, the slabs done so we can move forward. So,
Great.
any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, it's exciting. And
Once
let's-
you,
Nope, go ahead.
once you start on the steel, how long does it?
Hopefully, my hope is if everything goes well, we can have the slab poured and start on steel hopefully by the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. If we can get the slabs, that's the main thing. That's our next step, so.
Steel's on site.
Yes, yeah, it's already ready. We basically will have the contractor on site to shake out for a day and then they'll start setting, and it takes approximately a month.
Oh, thank you.
Within that section, we have the approval of payment number 6.
I make a motion, we approve payment of number 6.
Second?
Any questions or discussion? Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Aisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Thank you all. Under our general business agenda, unfinished business, the first item is the second reading of an ordinance amending the City of Morehead, Kentucky Code of Ordinances, Title V, Public Utilities, Chapter 51, Gas and Water, 51.02, Service Rates and Charges, Chapter 53, Sewer, 52.72, Charges and Fees, Chapter 55, Stormwater, 55.06, Utility Fees by increasing the rates and charges and fees. Mouthful.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Just a comment that Holly told us last month that it was the increase is 2.7%, which was approximately what inflation was, and today it's a little bit more, so we're getting a deal
For now.
for now.
All right, if there are no questions, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Aisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2 is the second reading of an ordinance adopting the budget for the Morehead Utility Plant Board for fiscal year 2026 through 2027 by the Board of the City Council of the City of Morehead, Kentucky.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Aisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3 is the second reading of the City of Morehead, Kentucky, amending Title III Administration, Chapter 40 Ethics Code of the City of Morehead Code of Ordinances by establishing an updated ethical conduct code applicable to the officers and employees of the city and city agencies.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Can we just say that KLC worked with us to redesign or rewrite our old ethics code, and has brought it up to date, and it's quite good.
Yeah, and Helen and I plan to meet with the Ethics Board next week to go over these updates if it passes tonight.
Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Caudle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Aisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
All right, we'll move into new business. The first item is a resolution of the City of Morehead adopting the Kentucky Model Procurement Code, KRS 45A, for expenditures relating to the Green Sinks project and authorizing the mayor and successors in title as the official project representative to establish selection criteria, advertise the request for engineering qualifications, appoint an engineering selection committee, and negotiate fees for engineering design services for the City of Morehead Green Sinks project.
So
So moved. I'll
Can you
second.
explain green seed? What is that? Just sinks outside for people to use or something?
No. Good question, yes. Also, Ben is here if council has specific questions on that resolution. So last month, we had a lengthy, I can say that since Rodney's on here, a lengthy presentation on green sinks, but it's, in a nutshell, a flood mitigation technique that's being used, and we're one of the first communities in Kentucky that's doing it, and so they're kind of watching us as the example.
Why?
Nationwide, yeah, okay, so there you go, nationwide. But the purpose of it is flood mitigation.
That's what that guy was talking about when he was talking about cleaning out the edges.
Yes, yeah, and anyone else is welcome to add, that was my very abbreviated version.
Just 5 locations that will be very deep and full of riffraff. Most of the time they'll be green, but when there's a serious flood, the water will go over the edge of the creek, drop in to this big sink, and then gradually move out rather than moving across town.
I understand now since you explained it. I was here when the guy was talking.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
The public needs to hear too. Yep.
Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Cottle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Paisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Okay, the second item under new business is the first reading of an ordinance amending the City of Morehead, Kentucky Code of Ordinances, Title III, Administration, Chapter 38, Non-Elected Officers by adding the positions of Public Works Director, Parks and Recreation Director, and City Planner.
Motion.
Second.
And so a little bit of context, this was derived out of our ethics training as well. So we obviously have these positions listed as job descriptions, but they've never been non-elected positions. And Megan, you can kind of correct me again, in a nutshell, my version of that would be, if there is a vacancy in any of those positions, or if, the sitting mayor chooses to eliminate anyone in those sitting positions, the next people rehired would be at the discretion of the city council. So city council would have a say in who your department heads are. We currently only identify city planner, city clerk, fire chief, and police chief, right? I think are the only ones.
City attorney.
And city attorney that we currently have. So this just kind of brings them all into one lump, so to speak.
And we updated the bond amounts too, that what they're already bonded for, to reflect that. So anyone handling money has to obtain a bond. But yeah, it's a position where you all would confirm or not.
So it's a maintenance and procedural issue, is what we're doing here. And then second reading, then they'll be sworn in, I guess.
Yeah, they take an oath, and if they have to get a bond, they
Get sworn in.
do that as well.
Says for removal too.
Not for removal.
No, it doesn't affect the mayor's, at-will
Okay.
removal. It just, hiring those positions have to be confirmed by the legislative body, which would be you all.
Although there is a requirement for an officer to have a written statement as to why they
Yeah.
are being
For a
removed.
reason of removal, yes.
Just removal.
Yeah. Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Cottle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Paisley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Item 3 under new business is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Morehead, Kentucky, amending Title 7 Traffic Code, Chapter 73, Traffic Schedules, Schedule 12, Crosswalks of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Morehead, Kentucky, by adding a crosswalk on CB Cornett Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
I should have put a graphic up for this one. Was there one in your packet?
There was.
Okay,
Attached one,
okay,
yeah.
perfect.
I think you could describe it though.
Sure.
It's, go ahead.
As you come off of the pedestrian bridge walking into City Park, we're gonna put a crosswalk that will go basically from the gravel that comes off of the bridge. I say the bridge, I guess that's what I should call it, over to the service road.
Okay, yeah.
Do you,
Folks trying to walk across.
Jason
to the
Justin Granville.
yes,
And eventually a sidewalk.
About that.
and eventually
I
the
heard
sidewalk.
the line over here ain't working from the park to across the main road.
The,
The crosswalk light,
Crosswalk light, I heard it's not working correctly.
that's a state.
it's a state light, but we can notify them.
Stop over here on
They fixed it already. Is that awesome? They already fixed it.
They fixed the stop sign up here?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't-
Yeah, isn't that great? One day.
Too slow, man.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, please call roll.
Cash.
Yes.
Shack.
Yes.
Waddle.
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Beasley.
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
And then item 4 under new business is the first reading of an ordinance of the city of Morehead, Kentucky, promoting public health by requiring certification of recovery residences, providing housing for individuals in recovery from substance use.
Motion.
Second.
This has been a long time coming on this one. We've been working on it for
More than a year?
here. I don't know. I mean, but the state has given some model ordinance, I guess. And so we've been meeting with the county as well to make sure that our ordinances are aligned. So if an organization has a house here, their rules don't vary based on if they're in the county and have to kind of track those two. But open to discussion and curious any feedback you all have. We all worked really hard on this one.
I have one question on
Yeah.
that, and that is, how do you identify the rogue players that are doing it but not listed anywhere?
So it's a number of things, right? We find out by coincidence.
Okay.
And sometimes that's if the fire department responds to something and they notice it,
100 people in a house.
you know, or if other organizations or neighbors or
Neighbors
anyone
report it.
report it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gonna be the big piece.
Does this give teeth to the codes enforcer when someone reports to go investigate into that house?
That's a them question.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
That was
Probably-
my only question on the whole thing.
Trip in Rodney's area initially.
Right, the codes enforcement officer.
And then there's a piece where, like, there's someone we would notify, you know, if they're difficult or they won't let us in. You know, we can make contact with KYARR to see if this is a facility and start the process with a complaint at that point against them if they aren't compliant, and we believe it to be.
So you have an
Every resident.
hotline?
The state does. The
state
cabinet's
might,
paying
yeah.
somebody for an anonymous
They're
hotline.
supposed to register with the state.
Right. I know what they're supposed to, and we
They
can,
fall under like different building code
right?
when they're registered. So if they're not registered, then Rodney can go in and Jeff can go in as fire inspector, building inspector, basically shut them down.
If we know about it.
If we know.
Once we've identified them.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's a provision, because of course this is all gonna be new, and it's left to local governments to make the rules on it right now. And they have a time period where they can get certified. Like if they didn't know that you all had passed this and the statute, the state statute, they can seek certification and they kind of get a 6-month time lapse. You know, we wouldn't charge the fees or fines against them if they ultimately obtain certification. So you wouldn't be punishing them if they just didn't know. Because part of it's educational too. We got to get the information out that it's required now.
Ultimately, is there teeth against the housing provider for someone using their property that in a manner that's not permitted?
The housing provider.
Yes, we notify both. The
Right, I saw that.
residents,
Saw that.
program, and the landowner.
The landowner is the one that has to actually be registered.
So the housing provider has to be registered
Each,
if they lease it, even if it's a triple net lease to a business that's operating.
right, so like if Aria is leasing your house and they have 8 people living
Right.
in it, then you as the landowner, that house has to be registered.
So it has to be girded up in the lease contract.
I hope that in process, this ordinance can work more effectively than in statement. It appears to me to be one of the most nebulously worded ordinances I have laid eyes on, and one of the most complex in terms of alleged methods of enforcement. Having served on the code board, you know, as traffic tickets, people don't mow their lawns, you know, all of that. You guys know how that is, for the most part. What are you gonna do to them? So I think it's a little about what you're saying. It says a great deal, but it walks around every single problem that will come up, in my estimation. And I read it like 3 times, and I wrote notes, and I thought, well, you're old, you know, you're just not getting this. But I don't believe that that's actually the case. So I will express some grave reservations about this, even though I guess it's been sort of funneled to us from the state. And the state is not in the business of enforcing these kinds of ordinances. And I think it clearly shows in the writing, in the construction of this. So I'm a non-believer in the effectiveness of this. And I think there is room, and I am certainly not opposed to these kinds of residences. I think they serve a great need, but I think there is also a great degree of problem that surrounds them in terms of criminality, but also in terms of sort of low-level criminality. And that worries me. And one of the questions that I often get from lots of people is, why are there so many rehab facilities and opportunities for the drug addicted in our community? And I don't know how to answer that other than a great need, and obviously the pill-producing manufacturers that were here for so long created a hell of a lot of addicts. But the fact that they exist and that we must, as a society, try to address them.
I think what we have here is a good piece of legislation for those who are obeying the laws.
Right. Yeah.
It is the rogue players that I think gives all of them a bad name.
Yeah.
And they abuse their tenants by not providing any type of rehabilitation for them, and we don't even know who's doing that and who's not. That's my concern, is how do we find the rogue players?
Yeah.
Because I think for the most part, some of the folks that I've spoke with that are very much involved in doing the rehab facilities, they really want help rooting out the bad elements so they can better serve this community for those things. So how do we identify the rogue players?
I think that's who we're gonna get most of the complaints from, is the legitimate ones.
That'd be good.
Complaining
On the others,
non-legitimate.
yeah.
Yeah, because they're compliant. They're compliant, they're doing a good job, a great service.
So there was an
Got
excellent,
some rogue
Sorry.
players out there that are not, they're exploiting people at their weakest and not doing anything for them.
But we gotta start somewhere.
You're right.
I mean, we need an ordinance to get started.
Get in there.
And have problems, and we can tweak it as we go along if we see things, but you gotta have the ordinance to get started to find out where you're at.
exactly.
We don't have an ordinance right now, we don't have any way of governing it at all, and this is the first step. And I'm sure we're gonna find that there's problems with it.
Yeah.
And we can go back in and amend it or adjust it how we need to accommodate what need, but this is a great starting point. At least get us off the ground and get us headed in the right direction.
And especially if we could put something in there about how to start it, how to watch for it, rather than to wait until it has already become an issue that we don't know about.
So
Don't have any idea how you.
there was an excellent article in the Herald Leader the other day. And in it, they did a little more talk about how these are funded than I have seen in previous articles. And apparently there was something at the start of the pandemic that Kentucky became an attractive place for people to set these up. That funding has ended now. So that might do some good for moving the rogue players out. Things that are in our ordinance, two things that are in our ordinance that I think are helpful is they have to display their certification near the main entrance on the inside, those who live there will see that. And they can ask, what does it mean that you are certified? And then they have to be given the actual document that says, these are the things we do. And so if you have a rogue player and you've got people living in your home and you're not, and they have some leg to stand on to go and say, they're not treating us the way they say they are. And so that, I think that's a.
If you go tell somebody, we'll kick you out.
I know, it doesn't solve everything, but it starts to move in that direction.
Oh, it's scary.
Quick point on, oh, sorry, Yvonne.
Go ahead.
Just on enforcement, mentioned entering houses, there'd be a warrant requirement there? Or how would we, what authority would we have to enter someone's house?
Very, very much my question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in the registration.
yeah, I mean, we know the address essentially, I mean, and when they do get registered and certified, they're consenting, to allow that, but
It's
the
the company
ones-
is, but
right.
the actual tenants, like those folks, that's their residence, even though temporarily. I mean, I don't know, that might be a problem.
Oh, it can create challenge issues for sure. But the initial though, like if we just receive a complaint, like Tripp and Rodney can't just go in somebody's house,
Right,
you
yeah.
know, but there's a process for us to check certification, notify.
Okay.
And then ultimately shut that program down, if they don't comply.
And there's a statement in there about providing transportation.
Yep.
So the state passed this,
There's a KRS on it, yeah.
about,
2 years ago.
22, 24. They have to register with the state. Once they register with the state, there's a list. So we can log on to the state's website and pull up a list of everyone who's registered in Round County. When they register for the state, they give consent for the inspection process. So our registration is local for enforcement, because once again, the state didn't set up any enforcement for their statute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the ones who are
If they're
registered.
with the state,
Right,
we
then,
can go in and
yeah,
inspect.
no problem. It's the
And
ones
again, I think that's,
that we can't just like
we're in
go
good
in.
shape on the ones that are.
Yeah,
Well, the ones that aren't registered just receive, I don't know what you put with the fine, but receive fines every day
And how do you
until
know?
they either get registered or come to code court.
And my question's same as Lincoln's. Say I see a house or I know that they're doing something like that in there, is I report it. How do you can't just go knocking on their door and saying, we hear you've got 5 people who are rehabilitated here, and
You may be able to do that, I just don't know if you actually enter.
I don't, that's why I say, how
enter if they don't let you, so please do not do that.
have all the ones that aren't registering?
It'd be letters and fines until they prove that they're not a registered.
Right, so if Tripp sees something or you talk, he can talk to whoever, he can talk to individuals who are there, he can call the owner, and do his investigation. And then if Tripp issues a violation notice, then they can come to code board and say, hey,
Okay.
we didn't do that, or, or the,
This is just for college
Yeah.
kids living here, not a recovery house.
yeah,
I got you.
But then at that point, they're opening themselves up, if they have a 2-bedroom with 8 people living in it, because there's some of those houses out there, that opens them up to fire code and building code. So then Rodney can say, hey, you can't have that many people living here.
Yeah.
Without sprinklers or whatever. So
Would be the same for a recovery house, they have to be safe.
I have,
it's not for a recovery house, actually. That's why it's.
Seriously,
They're protected.
my goodness.
So they either have a choice. We can be a recovery house and have this many people and follow these rules, or we're not a recovery house and we have to follow these rules. So.
Good point.
I know that this is new, and so the industry kind of got ahead of the law because we weren't thinking about it, and so now there's a certification process, and it gives them 6 months to get through the certification. Most, like daycares and adult care, they have to be certified before they can even open. Would we ever get to the point where we could require that they be certified before they open, or is that something that is kind of built into this tradition of Oxford House?
Well, I kind of read it as of July 2026.
But could we?
And after that, it would probably be prior to opening, wouldn't it?
No.
Is that an assumption?
6 months.
So if they're found on July 1st to not be compliant, they would have 6 months from that date, right, to become compliant?
But what about new ones?
New ones after July 1st have 6 months.
Yeah.
Still have 6 months.
Yeah, so it's something, like you said, this is a start, something we might want to be thinking about further down the line.
Good point.
Yeah,
And
How
again,
does the city benefit from having so many, like having an uncapped number of rehabilitation?
can't do anything.
Like, how does the city benefit from that though? Like, why would you not cap the number?
We can't.
That's illegal.
They're a
It's a
protected
federal-
class too.
It went to the Supreme Court in 1970s, and we cannot do that.
They're technically
Question.
listed as a family.
Yep. One other thing, and because there are several recovery homes in my neighborhood, and what I found is make friends with them. One of the main goals is that they recover and they integrate into society.
Absolutely.
And the best thing we can do is be friends and welcome them to the neighborhood so that they feel like they are doing what they are supposed to be doing, integrating.
Yeah, I agree. I'm affiliated with First Christian down there, and we have a labyrinth. And a lot of the walkers, the ones that are out, come to the labyrinth. So I've been out there many, many days talking to these people, and it's a lifesaver. And we need to welcome them more, and we often do. Sometimes they'll say they feel people looking at them askance, as though they don't belong.
okay, if there is no further discussion, please call roll.
Cash,
Yes.
Shack,
Yes.
Caudle,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes?
Ousley,
Yes.
Littleton.
Yes.
Right, other city business, I think
I
a
have-
few of you that have some updates.
But I have one other thing to kind of back us up to the ethics code one that we read before. And it goes back to something that happened at one of the first big tax meetings, when Mr. Hitch stood up and asked the council members their willingness to give their private phone numbers and their email. And in this code thing, section 22, email. City officials shall maintain an official email address and provide the email address to the city clerk. This must be separate from their personal email account. No city business shall occur through a personal email account.
That's why we create emails for everyone, so.
Right.
Absolutely,
And that's why when asked, I was the first person to ask, and I said no.
yeah.
A lot of people said yes, but a couple of us said no. And I think we all need to say no.
Yeah.
And the city needs, the residents, everybody needs to understand why we're saying no,
Yeah, well, and
whether we're an old lady living alone or not. We should be saying no for a lot of reasons. So I hope people are listening to that and understanding that. And I'm sorry I didn't catch it as it went through.
no, that's okay, but it's.
Got ahead of me.
If you do use personal devices or accounts, it gives public access to that, so, I think that was the point of that question too. Okay, you have another report though.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was the last meeting I asked about the Fountain Park.
And we have been working very hard on it. I will, hard on it in planning stages.
Yes, and we had a meeting, Edna, Councilwoman Shack chaired the meeting that day. Remember, sort of, she was because you couldn't be there right then. And so we had two representatives from the Garden Club, Dee and Sherry, Dee Bieberkauser and Sherry Davidson were there. And I think we had a really good discussion about how the city and the Garden Club can work together, and that the Garden Club wouldn't be telling and jumping on the guys for cutting stuff down or crying because it got cut down. I mean, and I think we came to understand each other pretty well. They definitely want to maintain many of the historic elements of Fountain Park. It's been there for ages, back in the day when we were doing green spaces. And then obviously from the city's perspective and the police department's perspective, it'd fallen into some issues that we would prefer not to have there. And I think they're aware of that and understand that better. But also on Saturday, they had a work day. There were 4 MSU students there working. There were a number of volunteers. I went and we spent several hours out there and got a lot done. And the plan is to have regular work days. They have some new members, which I think has helped them with the work. And I think a partnership is developing that can be better for the city, because I think that had become pretty hard for the city to cope with. But it's such a treasure that we don't want to lose. And the historian in me wants to note publicly that much of those beautiful big stones that are there they're historic pieces, and they need to be exposed again, sort of where they are, repurposed if possible, even around the fountain. It's a beautiful piece, and even though it's noisy down there and it's hard, it's not a peaceful place, it's still a beautiful place, and one that I think we should continue to try to work together and develop.
Absolutely, and from that meeting, the Garden Club, they put together kind of a proposal and a request to us that you'll have in the budget draft, but we've been able to kind of reflect some of those numbers and needs in that draft. So and it was a very long and well thought out letter. It was very good.
Did they address the sign, like the letters on the rock sign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and also at that meeting was Matt and Evan, Greg was there. And Helen. Yep.
Yeah.
Good representation.
We would have loved to have rather been with you all, and no offense, Megan, but Megan and I and Rodney were with even more attorneys. So trust me, we would have loved to be with you. Other reports or updates? Anybody?
You mentioned the budget draft. Are we looking at that next month?
Yes, we've made a few changes since the work session, and received a few other requests from groups, like the Garden Club, different things. But I think it's almost there. I know we were looking at some numbers on some vehicles that we had to input still. But so next month you'll get that with the budget message. We'll start voting.
I'd like to put out there to consider finding out exactly what that matching fund for the Veterans Museum that the county's talking about.
Yep.
And propose that we do match that fund and isolate the Veterans Museum separate. Not that we wouldn't do all of them, but
yeah, we
match that fund.
have that in there also.
Oh, good, thank you.
Good to go. Okay, let's see. On this end, have anything? Nothing? Department heads, do y'all have anything else?
The new website.
We have a new website if you haven't seen it, and it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So please go check it out. It was certainly a labor of love by Jenny, but it looks really good. And of course, if you notice things, let us know. Still work in progress, but it's really nice. It's actually very, very nice.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You.
You just-
Pretty quick.